these got delivered at night, so I already loaded them up in the truck. Anyway, just want to kind of show you what came in the box, some of the brackets, uh, all the bolts. Now, I had all these out and counted them, made sure everything's in there. I always do that before you start because you could save yourself a lot of pain. Because if something's missing, at least you could have the option of going to the hardware store or reaching out to the vendor prior to installation, making sure that you're not halfway through before you realize something's not there. So first thing I've done tonight, just to get a head start, I put these little speed clips on, just exactly like the instructions say to do. Same orientation. All right, so we're ready to go. We're going to take this tomorrow and get this thing put on, and can't wait to see how it looks. Stay tuned.
All right, unfortunately, my mic went out when I was filming this, but I didn't realize it until after the fact. So I'll just kind of go through this with you. I'm just kind of here showing out the tools that you need. A couple of 11/16ths, either a socket or a wrench, and or both. A couple of other pieces as well. There was like 2 or 3 sockets that I had to use. Some of those spaces are pretty tight, so you kind of need them. Anyway, so we had this on left over at GitHub Workspace. Still had the packaging on just to prevent any nicking. You'll notice these are frame mount. See these cords up here? So these, and on the driver's side, the fuel lines, make sure that one, you pop those loose and pull them out, but 2, make sure when you place the slider's edge up there against the frame that those wires, especially that fuel line, are on the outside. Now you can see the bolts here that are lined up on, that's the holes that they normally go in, and the instructions tell you how to do that. You have to snake a piece up there and put those in. You start with the center one, position it in place. You need a flathead small flathead screwdriver to help you position it with that center bolt, so that way you can get them all lined up. I did have to use a clamp to get the bolts to line up because the frame, the plates on the slider were slightly curved. It's just to help me get those bolts. Now this little silver piece up here, you will have 2 of those, one each side. That is to keep the carriage bolt secured up there once you screw it tight. And you'll see that here on the other side as well, and then there as well. I did have to unscrew this exhaust support a little bit just to get that to sit on there good. There is also another carriage bolt with a moon washer that's up the front. You glimpse this out. This is the other side where you have the bolt sticking out, the washer, lock washer nut, and that's for the carriage bolts that go from the inside out. Now up here in the front, this is what I was about to talk to you guys about. This is another carriage bolt that goes from the outside inward. You can see it right there in the front bracket, and it kind of goes over here. Let me see, I can raise the camera here in just a second. And you have to put a moon washer, lock washer, nut to it, secure it in place. It's right there near the transfer case skid. So it's a little bit tricky. But it's not too bad. Driver's side was pretty easy because it's easily accessible. The passenger side, which we'll show you here in just a moment, is a little bit more troublesome just because the fuel tank's right there. So something I had to do is I did have to lower the fuel tank a little bit. Make sure that you have a transmission jack or something along those lines. If you're doing this on the ground, a floor jack, to make sure that that is supported. And you will be able to reuse the fuel tank skid bolts on that side for the slider as well, because the slider piece slides in between the fuel tank skid and the frame. But like I said, you'll just kind of lower the fuel tank just a little bit, maybe a couple inches, just so you can stick your fingers up in there in that crack to get in to hold those plates in place. That's the biggest advice I have for that. But other than that, it's pretty simple to install, pretty quick and easy. So here's the sliders on the passenger side. Does not have the top plate mounted to it yet. Some people may decide to leave them like this, or may not opt for a top plate, which is perfectly fine too, because they look really good with that on. I prefer to have them with it so people aren't slipping their feet in through the cracks trying to get in and out.
Alright, so we're completely done now. We got the step plates on, or I should say the plates that you can get with it. They didn't come on it, so I had to put them on by myself, so it was a little nuisance, but still, man, I still love these things. These are awesome. All the protection I could ever want. It doesn't intrude to the wheel well either. These are frame mounted. It's flush with the front, so I don't anticipate there being tire clearance issues there. Maybe if I ever go 40s or something, that might be a concern, and I could probably just shift them back some, maybe. I don't know. Honest to God, I don't think I'll ever go that high of a tire anyway. But yeah, I really like these. These are really nice. So, hope you guys like this video. If you do, please hit that like button. Also, please consider subscribing. Most of our viewers are not subscribers, and it gets frustrating because that's one of the things that YouTube uses to help attract more viewers to our channels, help support the channel. Doesn't cost you anything, so if you would please consider doing that, it'd be a huge favor for not just us, but all the other channels you watch as well. And hit that alert button if you don't want to make sure you don't miss anything that we do in the future.